Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, that was my attempt at doing a 30-second video. We're redoing tonight's live stream, by the way. My screen was reversed the first time I did it. Anyways, happy Sunday. It's been a month since my last live stream. There's two very important things that are going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, three. Number one, the overarching thing is our opposition is kicking our ass right now. The student loan swamp is just cleaning our clock, both in the public debate and also with legislation. So here's the first thing. There's been a coordinated media campaign against us for years and years and years, trying to claim that canceling student loans will cost the taxpayers. That's false. That's totally false. We're talking about canceling profit. The government doesn't make a profit on anything. Our opponents are actually insisting that the government make a profit on these loans, not just break even, which is what they're doing now. And by the way, think about it. The government breaking even on student loans, which is what they're doing right now, even if every nickel of student loans are canceled, that means that the federal government got tens of millions of people college educations for free. That is a very good deal for the taxpayers. And for our opponents to insist that they make profit over and above that is asinine, ridiculous, obscene, and it's un-American. So they've been doing that for years and years. But there's a new wrinkle, ladies and gentlemen, with these protests happening about the Israeli-Gaza conflict. And I take no strong position on that, whatever your position on that conflict may be. The fact of the matter is our opposition is trying to lump us in with the protesters. So it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Elite college students, which most of the protesters are at Columbia and these other schools, elite college students don't get student loans, ladies and gentlemen. I would guess that very few protesters we see on TV have student loans. International students also don't get federal student loans. So it's a correlation only in the fantasy of our opposition who's trying to make us look bad. And as I said, whatever your position is on the conflict in Gaza, this is very concerning. This is a coordinated, manufactured campaign against us. And we're seeing stuff all over Facebook and Twitter right now from people saying, oh, the protesters shouldn't get their student loans canceled, et cetera, et cetera. Shouldn't be that way, guys. It's very bad for us when this issue gets partisanized. This is not a partisan issue. Fully more than half of our members are either Republican or independent. Like something like 70% of our group is either Republican or independent. And none of us are wealthy, by the way. Wealthy people can't get student loans. That's another lie being seeded by our opposition. So these are all the battles that we're having to fight right now in the public conversation. We absolutely need your help, guys. But there's one more very important legislative item happening. So there's an FAA reauthorization bill that is winding its way through Congress as we speak. I misspoke in my last live stream. I said that the Senate was poised to vote on it this week. No, that's not true. The Senate already voted on this bill and passed it. The bill is going to the House of Representatives this coming week. And ladies and gentlemen, here's what the bill does. Okay, it reauthorizes, refunds, two words, the Federal Aviation Administration. So you know what that is. But hidden in that bill is language that would not only kill the Secretary of Education's power to cancel student loans broadly, it would also greatly increase the borrowing limits. Now, this language is supposedly only meant for flight school students initially. But guys, I've looked at the language, and there is nothing beyond the title. There is nothing in the language of this bill. In the Senate, it's S-1939. In the House, I don't know what the House designation number is for the bill. But suffice it to say, guys, it looks very much like this bill is going to pass. We were pushing Senator Cantwell, Senator Tammy, Duckworth of Illinois, very, very hard. And yet still, they passed this bill. So we are going to be well and truly screwed, ladies and gentlemen, if this bill passes. And, we're talking about a Republican controlled House here, guys. Republican controlled House. And by the way, we're a fiercely nonpartisan group. We can't stand either party. It's the uniparty as far as we're concerned, which is why I'm running for president. We can't count on either party to do anything real on student loans except for screw us, which is why I'm running for president. CollingeforPresident.com. Please support my campaign. This bill is going to pass, it looks like. And the one thing that we can do starting tomorrow morning is call your member of the House of Representatives, call your congressman or congresswoman tomorrow and tell them that under no circumstances should they vote for the FAA reauthorization bill with that poisonous language in it. It makes the loans uncancelable. It also jacks the amount that undergrads can borrow to over $100,000. Now, this could broadly be applied to all student loans. The bill right now, as it is written, could be broadly applied to all student loans, not just for flight school students. It's pretty ambiguous wording, and I think that's for a very good reason, that the bad guys put it in there like that. We have flight school students that are committing suicide now. In March, someone took his plane out of the flight school, out of the hangar, and he committed suicide. And his classmates, in other words, other students from that college, say that almost certainly the kid was undergoing the financial pressures that school, ATP, I think it's called, in Texas, that school is famous for putting just massive financial pressures on its students. And former students from that school say that the guy was probably eyeball deep in student loan debt, and that was probably a contributing factor. So imagine jacking the amount that they can borrow up to over $100,000, making the loans uncancelable. The loans are already non-dischargeable in bankruptcy, which we've seen be attributable to very many suicides out there in the country. This is poison, guys. This is the worst poison legislation I've seen since 2005. So that's like nearly 20 years that I've been doing this. You should be very, very concerned about this, guys. And the media, by the way, is almost not even reporting on this. A couple of people, Common Dreams, Tom Hartman, have spoken about it. But guys, it looks like this is going to go through. This is very, 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 very dangerous. So we have our work cut out for us, guys. And if you're sitting there, sitting on your hands, you need to get in this fight because these are your loans. This is your livelihood on the hook here. And as long as we remain silent, complacent, waiting, watching, and worrying and wondering what they are going to do with student loans, what they are in Washington are going to do with student loans, as long as we don't fight, is exactly what they have been doing, which is to wreck us, tighten the screws as tight as they possibly can, and that will continue, and essentially beggar 40 million people in the country who their only crime was going to college. Like, the founding fathers are rolling over in their graves, guys. The founding fathers called for uniform bankruptcy rights, and this has been uniquely stripped from federal and private student loans. Bankruptcy, by the way, if you're new to this group, if this is your first time watching me, the core of this whole thing is bankruptcy. Our group has been fighting 90% for bankruptcy for our entire existence since 2005. I know how to cancel student loans. As president, I know exactly how to do it. There are multiple ways. Trust me when I tell you that if I'm elected president, I absolutely will cancel every nickel of federally owned student loans. I will return bankruptcy protections to all federal student loans. I will demand, and hopefully you will demand with me, that Congress pass legislation returning bankruptcy rights to both federal and private student loans. We're going to take the student loan program to the bath and drown it in the tub, which is a very conservative thing that I just said. And it's been long overdue. But for the lack of political will, but for the greed and the corruption, but for the lack of courage in Washington, D.C., this loan scam would have been ended and replaced years or even decades ago. Maybe the most important fact that I'll share with you tonight to give you some hope, because I know this is not a very hopeful talk here tonight. 80%, and you will not see this report in the mainstream media. Trust me, it's true. 80% of all federal student loan borrowers are not making payments on their loans today. 80%. The New York Times reported that 40% weren't paying. That's false. That's misinformation. It's double that, 80%. If you know 20 people with student loans, 16 of those people are not making payments on their loans today. So what do you call that? You know what you call that? It's a failed lending catastrophe. Lending systems fail from time to time, guys. We've seen it throughout American and world history. It just happens. We saw the subprimes, 2008. We saw the S&L American savings and loan crisis in the 80s. We saw pretty much all of Europe in 1945. Like, it happens, guys. We're not perfect. Greed and corruption have a way of making good things turn bad. That happened with student loans. But remember, guys, there's true strength in numbers. And when 80% of the people aren't paying, I think we're going to win this one, guys. I really do. But it all starts with you. It all starts with you actually caring, realizing that we have the absolute, utter moral high ground. We have the moral high ground on this. We are fighting against very dirty, dirty people, both in and out of government, both in around Washington and Wall Street, in and around the colleges, quite frankly. The colleges are in on this, ladies and gentlemen. And I could talk for quite a while on that, but suffice it to say, we had a very good bankruptcy bill. Dick Durbin, the Democrats, had a very good bankruptcy bill in the Congress last session. At the very last minute, the colleges, according to Dick Durbin, convinced his staff, convinced Dick Durbin to kill that bill at the 11th hour. The colleges are not clean. The colleges are against us on this. But, you know, guys, with 40 million people losing sleep over their student loans, 37 million not making payments, we can easily win this battle. Like, I'm stunned that I've been doing student loan justice for 20 years now. It's just, quite frankly, it's ridiculous. We can be done by the election, guys, by November, if we do things correctly. And that starts, if you forget everything I say to you tonight, remember, tell everybody you know with student loans about my campaign, collingeforpresident.com, and also about our group, studentloanjustice.org. We need everybody to get into the habit of doing our daily actions. They take a couple of minutes. You got to have a Twitter account. I'm sorry about that, but you know, this is so important. It's worth getting a Twitter account just for this purpose. If you don't already have one, follow us on Twitter, Student Loan Just #1. But remember, studentloanjustice.org, our website. Look at the top of our website and you can see our daily actions. Please get into the habit of doing our daily actions. It will help. Like this thing that we're fighting right now, this FAA bill. If we had 100,000 people a day doing our daily actions, we would prevail. We would make sure that Congress wouldn't pass such a poisonous bill. When we have a significant percentage of student loan borrowers fighting this fight with us, we will win. If every student loan borrower in the country knew about my campaign, I'm sure a couple million of them would support it. And, you know, quite frankly, once we get rolling, guys, if we could count on the write-in votes of 30 million people, that would put us in the running to actually win the election. So think about that. You have no idea how strong we actually are. So a couple of things before I close. First, I want to thank Martha. Martha in New Jersey. Martha actually bought this suit for me, and I appreciate it greatly. Hopefully you can see the presidential pin. Thank you, Martha. You are a godsend to this group and our movement. So you all know, Martha has ALS. She is unable to walk or talk or even eat without a feeding tube. She's confined to a wheelchair, but yet Martha finds a way to do our daily actions, to lead the New Jersey State Chapter Group. Martha is doing everything she possibly can, including these awesome threads. Thank you, Martha. We love you. Truly, we do. Martha's my inspiration. And, you have no excuse for not getting into this fight. If Martha can do it, you absolutely have no excuse. You can do it too. And we need you to. And we want you. And we need you. And it feels good to fight this fight. So do our daily actions. Support my presidential campaign, collingeforpresident.com. Tell everybody you know with student loans about this group, and we'll be getting somewhere. Word of mouth is the most powerful thing on earth. And, really in 1 month or maybe 2 months, we could see to it that everybody with student loans in this country would be aware of my campaign. When we do that, we'd probably have at least a couple million people that would be actually fighting in the trenches with us. And guys, that is something that is just overwhelmingly powerful. We would be too big to stop if that happened. And maybe finally, I will also say, look at my agenda. You'll see that it's pretty balanced. I think you can live with all of my other agenda items. Taxing the no-brainer stuff I'm fighting for. Taxing the rich. Cutting wasteful spending. And we waste a lot of money, particularly on foreign wars. So let's say taxing the rich, trimming federal spending, fighting the censorship beast. I think everybody can agree that free speech is very important. Yesterday the Democrats were all fighting for censorship. Today the Republicans are doing it. This is a core American value I think everybody can get behind. Securing the border. I think most people agree that, we have to control the border, and not in a mean and vicious way like Donald Trump proposes, but, we've got to control illegal immigration. And that's fine. We need to stand up to China. These are all things that people can largely agree on. I think you will find that my campaign agenda is a fair mix, a balance of the best ideas from both the left and the right. But again, my number one thing, obviously, is student loans. This is our forte. This is our strength. This issue, the student loan issue, is what we will absolutely kick ass on both the left and the right. And believe me, guys, my quiver is full. I win every debate that I'm ever in with anyone ever on the student loan debate. And just getting the truth out, like how student loan cancellation costs the taxpayers actually nothing, how it doesn't benefit the wealthy, how older people now outnumber younger people with student loans. That's true. Simply telling the truth will solve this problem for us. This is the best job in the world that I have here. All I do all day long is tell the truth. And you can't go wrong with that. I hope you agree. I hope that you remember everything I said tonight. Collingeforpresident.com, support the campaign. Studentloanjustice.org. Look up, do our daily actions every day. Get back to us and report to us any progress that you make with your legislators. I'm always happy to do interviews. I know the mainstream media is not going to help us, but you never know. We get lucky in the media from time to time. For those of you who don't know me, I've been featured on 60 Minutes and NBC and MSNBC and Fox News and Newsmax and The Hill, and I've written in the New York Times, and I wrote the first book to be critical of the student loan problem, the student loan scam. Here it is right here. I wrote the first book to be critical of the student loan problem, the student loan scam. So we got this when you help us. Tell everyone you know with student loans about this campaign. I'm going to stop repeating myself. I will only say Happy Mother's Day to Martha and all the mothers out there, including my mother in heaven. And let's get this done, guys. We can do it. I have great hope and great faith in you. I'm counting on you. So good luck. Godspeed. God bless. And God bless America, everyone.